Then Peter said to Jesus in reply, "Rabbi, it is good that we are here." Rabbi, it is good that we are here. Peter is in awe. He doesn't even know what he's saying, but he is so mystified, as well as James and John, about this special presence of our transfigured Lord. Our Lord is giving them a little sliver of the ray of his glory, and they are in awe. It's like they keep taking in their breath and they can't let it out. Rabbi, it is good that we are here. Peter says this because he truly is in the presence of God. But when Peter's faith becomes stronger, he will always be able to have this same joy at the presence of God, the Blessed Trinity in his life, even when things are difficult. But his faith is not there yet. Because you see, when they go back down the mountain, Jesus is going to give his life on the cross. Where is Peter then? Does he still truly believe in the presence of God, or is he distracted by his fear and his worry about himself? So my theme today will be not, Rabbi, it is good that we are here, but rather, O Holy Trinity, it is good that you are here all the time. All the time. And the reason that Father Joel loses his peace so easily and gets all riled up and worried is because he forgets about the presence of the Blessed Trinity. He forgets that God is right here. Oh, he might try to pay attention to God when he goes to Mass. But when Mass is done, boy, he's busy. He's got things to do. And sometimes he forgets about God. And that is the main reason, I think, that many of us are unhappy, that we're worried, that we get angry and try to control things because we forget. We say we believe that God is present, but sometimes we don't act like it, and sometimes we just plumb forget Him. What kind of life is that? Especially if God is right here all the time, the supreme being, the maker of all good things, God who is love itself, God who is perfection, right here all the time, closer to us than we can imagine, and even within us. There was a certain monk, Father Raymond, I'll call him, a Trappist monk. He said that there was never a moment in which we were not in the mind of God in all eternity. Even before we were made, we were in His mind. We weren't just poof, an idea that came up. We were already there. And He was madly in love with the very idea of us. It's almost as if He couldn't wait to create us. And then when He creates us, He didn't just create us. He holds us in being. If the Blessed Trinity were to cease to think of us, we would cease to exist. It's that simple. So the reason many of us can be unhappy many times is because we forget that. We forget that there's someone who is constantly, madly in love with us. And even when we sin, does Jesus, the Good Shepherd, say, I said supper. It's Lent, and I'm thinking of supper. Okay. Jesus, the Good Shepherd, says, is he going to say, get away, you ugly sinner, don't come to me? No. He says, come to me, all you who labor and are burdened, and I will give you rest. He's constantly after us. God is the hound of heaven because he's in love with us, and he keeps following us. So here we have happiness itself, perfection itself, seeking us, and we're unhappy. Does that make any sense at all? Because we're looking for other things to make us happy. We're looking for everything to be right for us to be happy. But there is God himself who thirsts for our love, and we ignore him. We act like he's not even there. There was once a young lad who came to a holy monk, and he explained his grievances and his stress and his worries about other people. And so the monk tells him, he says, I want you to go to a cemetery 2 nights in a row. And the first night at the cemetery, I want you to yell out every insult you can think of to all the deceased. And then the second night, go out to the cemetery and sing all your praises and give compliments to all the deceased. So he did this. And then he came back to the monk, and the monk said, what did the dead say? And of course, the youth said, nothing. The monk said, be as the dead. Be as the dead. Don't worry about whether people praise you or notice you or insult you or ignore you. Don't worry about whether you're sick or well. Don't worry about rich or poor. God who loves you is taking care of you. He will provide for you as you need it. But if you want anything else, you will remain to be unhappy. Doesn't that make sense? That's what Lent is all about. It's about penetrating deeper into the awareness of God's presence in our lives. It's not just about giving things up to see how good we are. It's not just to see if we can do it. The reason we fast or give up something or pray more is so that we can change, so that we can die to the world and live unto God, live in his continual presence. I think that is the only time that I could say that being dead is quite refreshing. Being dead to the world gives us a certain freedom. And so the psalmist writes this: the Lord is my light and my help. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the stronghold of my life. Before whom shall I shrink? St. Paul writes to the Galatians, I have been crucified with Christ, and it is no longer I who live, but Christ lives in me. And the life I now live in the flesh, I live by faith. Faith in the Son of God, who loves me and gave himself up for me. That is the way to live. That is finding joy. And you know, this joy does never have to go away, even in this life. This can be a continual joy our whole life through all of our suffering, our sorrows, our joys, the good things that happen, the blessings, the crosses. We can still have that continual joy because we're so aware that God never leaves us. We can leave him, but he never leaves us. So Father Raymond, the Trappist monk, says this: because many people do not know who they are or what they are, that is, sons and daughters of God, millions must confess with Augustine, you were with me, but I was not with you. That ignorance is the real root of their unrest and the source of their unhappiness. They do not know that they were made to the image and likeness of God. Or if they do know it, they have no idea where within them is the mirror that holds that divine image and likeness. We all can say it 100 times. We've heard it 100 times. God made us in his image and likeness. In his image and likeness. But do we really think about that? Do we think about what that really means? That the Blessed Trinity is madly in love with us. The same God who holds us into being, who can't stop thinking about us because we would cease to exist if he did. Do we trust him? Are we in love? Is God even real to us? Then let's not only pay attention to him at Mass, let's not only pay attention to Jesus in the Eucharist, but even when we leave Mass, may we practice the continual presence of God in our hearts and think about him often. That is the way to live. Oh God, it is good that you are here. So this Lent, where are you and I? Why are we giving up anything? Why are we making extra time for prayer? Could it be that we want to change, really? That we truly want to go into the depths of being aware of God's presence and his love in our soul? God is right here. We don't have to look far to find him. He's knocking at the door of our hearts. Then Peter said to Jesus in reply, Rabbi, it is good that we are here. God bless you all.